what should fueling before and after training look like? So basically, you want to make sure that you are always fueling before a run, no exceptions. This includes your easy run days, your lowest volume days. Even if you're running, you're rolling out of bed and you're running out the door, you always want to be eating something before a run. And a question I always get is, well, I can get through a run without fueling, so why do I need to force myself to eat something if I'm not hungry in the morning? And there's kind of two answers to this question. The first part is that if you're not fueling before a run, your body has to find that fuel somewhere, especially if you're running first thing in the morning and you haven't eaten anything since the night before. When you're sleeping, your body also needs fuel to stay alive. And so you've kind of depleted what's called your glycogen stores. These are your energy stores that you'll use during training. You've depleted them overnight. So now we're about to go out on this training session, which, a lot of times even easy runs are still a pretty significant amount of time on your feet. So now we're having to pull this energy from somewhere else. And a lot of runners assume that if they don't eat before a run, they're going to burn up all their fat, they're going to get really lean, and that's not really what happens. We actually end up breaking down muscle tissue, which, as you can imagine, is not going to help us reach our goals with training and also puts us at a higher injury risk. The other part to not fueling before running, and especially if you're not feeling hungry in the morning, that can actually be an indication that you are running off of stress hormones. So we have a stress hormone called cortisol, and it's the highest first thing in the morning, and it continues to rise as we exercise. And the only thing that really helps to lower it is actually eating some food. So if you're somebody who does not feel hungry in the morning, that can be a sign that you're running on this stress hormone, and we actually need to just start getting in the habit of fueling. So if you are somebody who has less than 30 minutes before you start your run, or you're new to fueling before a run, you can start with something small. So this could be something like a package of fruit snacks or those energy chews, like sports energy chews. Honey Stinger waffles, those are a really great option for a quick pre-run snack. An applesauce squeeze pouch. You can do something like, toaster waffles or a single toaster waffle with some maple syrup on it, or even just a small granola bar. So something like that about 30 minutes before your run. It's not going to cause any stomach issues. It actually might help with stomach issues, is fueling before running. If you're somebody who can fuel before runs, but you're not really sure what to fuel with, ideally about, anywhere from 1 to 2 hours out from your run, we want to get down about 60 grams of carbs. So an example of that would be a bagel with some peanut butter and some banana slices. If you're more on the hour side, that might be a little bit too much, but if you have closer to 2 hours, that should be a good amount. You can do toast with peanut butter and banana, or butter and jam. You can do toaster waffles with maple syrup and some butter or honey. Other good things, oatmeal, like the instant oatmeals, you can add some fruit to that. The biggest thing with pre-run is that you don't want to do anything that's too high in protein, fiber, or fat. So like putting peanut butter on something is fine, but we wouldn't necessarily want to do like an egg and avocado. That's something that's going to be too high in fat and protein. And when we eat something too high in fat and protein, that can increase your chances of having GI issues. And it also takes away from your ability to get energy from the carbs. So pre-run, we're really focusing on pure carbs for the most part. The farther away from the run we are, we can incorporate a little bit of protein in the form of, like peanut butter or something like that, but we don't want to go too crazy with that for increasing risk of GI problems. We also want to start working on hydration pre-run. A lot of people are good at hydrating after their run, but before you run, it's a really good idea to try to get down about 8 to 16 ounces of electrolytes. So my suggestion would be something like Noon Sport, those little tablets. You could do something like Liquid IV. You could do Scratch or Noon Endurance. Those are two options that have carbs in them, but you don't want to do anything that is too high in sodium. So I wouldn't do like the LMNT. Those ones are a little bit too much for pre-run. But some type of fluids with electrolytes, not just your coffee, would be a good thing to have pre-run, especially before your bigger workout days. So getting in the habit of doing that, because This is ultimately practice for race day because you will be fueling before your marathon. So you want to start getting in the habit of doing that now and find something that really works well for you. Post run, this is when you want to have both carbs and protein. So I often see runners get down the protein, but they typically miss out on the carbs. So if you're going to do a protein shake, bringing a higher carb option with you, again, like a piece of fruit or a granola bar to kind of supplement with carbs, is a good combination. There's also lots of recovery powders out there that have both carbs and protein. So Scratch is one, Momentous is another one, Tailwind is another one. Those all have carbs and protein in a drink mix. So you can mix those with, I typically recommend mixing them with cow milk or soy milk to get some extra protein in there. But you can also mix them with plain water and then throw some ice in there to keep it cold. And that's a really easy drink to get down on your drive home. Post-run, liquids tend to be easier to get down, especially in the summer, right away compared to solid food. So if you have a workout day or you've driven somewhere or you have like a lift after your run, that's a great opportunity to do some type of recovery drink with carbs and protein. And then ideally you're getting a solid meal within 2 hours of finishing that workout as well. On an easier run day, let's say you're running from home and it's easy for you to prepare a meal within 45 minutes of finishing that run, that's a great option too. Typically post-run, we want to aim for about 20 grams of protein, 20 to 30 depending on the athlete, and then about triple that of carbs. So about 60 grams of carbs up to 90 grams of carbs post-run. So that's typically what pre and post-run should look like. You want to get in the habit of consistently doing that, and that's really going to help you get the most out of your training, stay healthy, and really recover well in between sessions.